So, this is my non-spoiler review for Godzilla versus Kong. Um, and yeah, unlike most of the HBO Max in theaters same day releases, this one I actually got to go see in the theater. I went opening day for showtime on a Wednesday, which is weird that this is opening on a Wednesday. My theaters are actually open. I have a ticket to go see Chaos Walking next Tuesday, so that review will probably be coming to you next Tuesday. And I was very excited about this movie. Though I will say, it is good for what it is. If you want a great movie, I mean, you weren't try. I wouldn't try your luck with Godzilla. Godzilla's never really had a great movie outside the original, if you ask me. Godzilla's an important piece of culture. He's a great character. He's a great universe, great monsters, all that stuff. But in terms of being really smart, well-written films, not so much. This movie gets quite ridiculous. So let's go over my thoughts on the previous movies before we get into my thoughts onto this one. Uh, Godzilla 2014, I loved. I think it was great. I think people's main issue with it is there's not enough Godzilla, and I totally understand that criticism. I agree with that criticism, but I still really love that movie. Godzilla King of the Monsters is the only movie that I've seen in a theater and not been able to watch the whole way through because I passed out. So I didn't really like that movie. The human side of that movie was awful. And Kong Skull Island was significantly pretty bad. Like, that movie had the same problem with Godzilla versus King of the Monsters, except with King Kong. It was, yeah. But I really enjoyed 2014 Godzilla. But this is my favorite American Godzilla movie. And I think this one is the best of the MonsterVerse so far. I'm not going to get into spoilers. I will have a spoiler review for this, but I may do some mild spoilerish talk, so if that bothers you, skip out. But nothing I will say will ruin this movie. Millie Bobby Brown's character returns in this movie, and I liked her story significantly more. Her story with her mom and dad in the first movie was terrible, and this movie did a really great job at fixing a lot of the issues there. A lot of the human characters had terrible dialogue. Apex, which was in the last movie, their whole subplot did not work for me. None of the human stuff worked for me in Godzilla King Monsters. But what they do in this movie with all the human characters is they give them a reason to be there. They are really important roles within the story, and you never hate watching them. And then they give us the right amount of the monsters. They give us a great amount of King Kong, Godzilla, beating each other down. And they don't hold back. Actually, this movie's quite violent for a PG-13 movie, which I think is great. It's not like super violent. It's still PG-13, but it's still very, very violent. And I think that's great to see in this movie. The effects in this movie look phenomenal. King Kong and Godzilla look great. Sometimes, like the robot Godzilla, Mecha Godzilla, which I think some people might say, well, that's a spoiler. It's really not a spoiler. There's like Funko Pops that you could see of this guy that are like up for sale right now. I think they're like pre-orders, but you can still buy them. There's hints of him in the trailer. Some people didn't know he was in this movie, but it's kind of like, it's not really a spoiler. It's like in Justice League when everyone said, it's a spoiler, Superman comes back. No, it's not. It was obvious. If you didn't see it coming, you just weren't paying attention. And that's all I have to say about that. I'm not going to say how they incorporate him into the plot or any of that stuff, but yeah, he's in this movie. But yeah, I think a lot of this movie really worked. It gives me exactly what I wanted, and yeah, there were no real parts to this movie I really didn't like. I think this was a great installment to this series, and the best one so far, and I think if they continue to do what this movie does, then we will get some really great stuff out of this series, because this is a great movie for what it is. And I get it. I say for what it is. This isn't a smart, well-written movie. The human dialogue is still bad. It's not something humans would ever say, but it's better. The actors deliver with charisma, and there's just a better direction throughout most of this movie. It's just a really solid movie for what it is.